Listen, when you gotta have a guy like Luka that seems to be able to do everything, got an eye sign in his head and all that, how do you coach a guy like that? What can you teach him to make him a better player?
Well, I guess you try to cover his eyes, to see how he does with that part. No, I think it's just, he's very talented. Again, basketball IQ is extremely high at 22, and so for me, it's about communicating. What I see or what I hear, and so to share that information, it's just about gathering as much information as I can to hand off to him, and then he does a great job of being able to break down that information and be successful with it. So that's what you do. I mean, and have fun along the way, and again, he sees everything, so I'm trying to see the things that he doesn't.
How do you see that matchup between
Yeah, I think it's great for the media to talk about, but I think it's the Hawks against the Mavs. The NBA is about superstars, and there's a lot of superstars playing this week. But it's at the end of the day, it's about the Mavs and Hawks. And Trey's, again, last year had an incredible season, and I look for him to have another one. They're a young, exciting team, and they're well coached. And so, I don't look at it against, Trey against Luka. It's the Mavs against the Hawks.
Jason, Luka's God's on favorites to win the MVP. First of all, do you think he knows that he wants to finish second in MVP voting?
Who finished second?
Do you think he knows that you want to finish second in MVP voting?
No.
And secondly, in a large way, you were in the path that he's on now.
Yep.
Right? Is that something that you guys talk about at all in terms of expectations and handling this?
Can we get a recount on that year of voting? Joke. I think we haven't talked, we've only been together for a short amount of time, and there's a lot to talk about, and as much as we would like to get it all done before recess, that bell rings and recess starts. So I think we got plenty of time to talk about, things that might be similar. But he is very talented, and the things that he does on the floor, in practice or in games are very impressive. Again, I love his tempo. I wish I had his tempo. But we're all different when it comes to speed or, a different record or a different song that they hear. So, but it's exciting, and my job and my coaches and his teammates are to help him to achieve his goals, not just individually, but as a team. And we understand we'll work backwards, and it starts with that gold trophy, the championship, and then all the individual stuff will come with that.
Anybody else?
I don't think I've heard you talk about this with Kristaps, and I would talk about how healthy he is and coming into the season. Is there any expectation that there will be load management built into this season with him?
We haven't talked about load management all camp. It's a great question. That word has not popped up in camp. So to give you an honest answer, I don't know because we haven't talked about load management. He feels great. I think they'll tell me, or we'll see when they're tired. But I think that's something that I would have to come back to you on. We haven't really talked about load management in today's game. That's a very popular word. And so to give you a really brutal, honest answer, that word has not come up.
And I guess to some extent it would need to be a reactive situation. A lot of it's going to be based around how he feels.
Yeah.
It's not something you can decide right now, I guess. Not necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think we've talked about it. I know we haven't talked about it. I think the big thing is keeping a pulse of how he's feeling, and how can we keep him fresh and healthy, and then go from there. And then there's going to be times in the season where, he probably does have a game off for, that's just the nature of today's game. And so we'll deal with that when that comes. But that word has not come up with anybody, which I've been around some older teams. That word is always, in the front of where their minutes are and how do we keep them fresh for the long season. Thanks.
Okay, we'll move over to Zoom. Kevin Sherrington, Dallas Morning News. Go ahead.
Hi, Jason. Luka, there's been a lot of talk going into this season that there are going to have to be, more shooters around Luka, and yet the first thing he talked about a while ago was we're playing better defensively. We have to be better defensively to win. In the small sample size, the defense has been very good so far. How do you maintain that over 82 games?
Yeah, I think being realistic. I think when you hear Luka, one of our better players, talk about defense, that's been our message, and you can hear the players talking about it, and so it's something that we need in preseason. I would never share those stats with those guys because it was only 4 games, but those numbers were really, really good, and so we would all sign up for those numbers today to be the number 1 defense efficiency in the league. That's pretty good. But I think there's carryover, the deflections and steals and the things that we talked about of getting better with. They showed in 4 games, and understand being realistic. There's 82 games. Our defense is not always going to be number 1, and so how can we win those games when we're not, playing our best defense? That's a sign of a really good team.
Matt?
Jason Mackin on Fort Worth Star Telegram. Are you hoping Porzingis becomes a post-up player again?
My only hope is health and KP being himself, being the best basketball player he can be, and it's not just sitting in the post, it's not just sitting behind the three-point line, it's being an artist of being able to do everything that he's done when he first came in the league, being able to bring the ball up, being able to do different things that puts a lot of pressure on the defense. And I thought we've seen that early here in preseason and also in training camp, and we don't see it changing. I really believe he's going to be able to do a lot of things on the floor.
Kevin Gray?
Kevin Gray, 105 through the Fan. Jason, good to see you. Appreciate you taking the time with us today. This is your 3rd stint as a head coach in this league, and you've heard a lot of messages throughout your career, not only as a coach, but as an assistant coach, and you've used accountability and chemistry as kind of the core principles that you want for this team this year. Why should this team believe in that particular message, aside from obviously, keeping a job, but why should this team believe in that particular message from you going into this upcoming season?
Kevin, that's a good question. The best answer I can give you is because they believe in those 2 things. That's what they came up with as a group. I think I've said this earlier. As a coach, you have to listen to your players. And that was something our best player, when you talk about this summer, talked about chemistry. And then going around asking the players about different things. Accountability was the other big word that was used by a lot of the guys. And so those 2 things they have taken ownership in, and I truly believe behind those 2 things will be something that can bring success. But also it's something that we'll talk about all season, about our chemistry, because it's going to be tested. Accountability will be tested, and so we have to be able to continue that communication and trust. But those guys that are playing have taken accountability and ownership in those 2 words.
All right, last one. Lauren, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Lauren Gunn, Mavs Moneyball. With Josh Green getting extended today, can you talk about the importance of this upcoming season for him with this new regime, and maybe any conversations that you've had with him about what you're looking for him to bring to the table this season?
Yeah, I think, one, that's awesome that Josh got extended. Congratulations, Josh. I think, for us being new, this is, almost like his rookie season. We're going to give him minutes to play. We're not judging those minutes of good or bad, but we need to know, how he's doing on the development side. He's a young player that didn't get to play a lot last year, and hopefully we can get him in early to see what we have. And up to today, we really like what we see from Josh on both ends of the floor. We know that he's going to continue to work hard. He's going to get better. But today we really like what he does on the defensive side of the ball and on the offensive side.